course, Giants and G2, they're going up for game number 2 right now. But if you don't want to miss us at Hamburg for the spring finals, remember, tickets are going to be, another batch rather, released very, very soon. So keep an eye out for those. Are you excited for Hamburg, Krepa?
Oh, I love studio events. I like big stage events rather, because I think that's where the players, they get rewarded for a lot of their hard work. Because LCS sometimes for these guys, it feels like another day at the office, you know? You come in and like these games for G2 right now, this is almost routine. But there's this moment when they get on stage and like they get the crowd intros and everybody starts cheering their names and they get this like smothering in applause that you see like that all those hours that they put in at home where nobody's watching are just so worth it. Those are like the career-defining moments. Getting on that stage for some of these members, and that's honestly aspiration for every single pro player. It's one of the best moments you could ever imagine. And that's what they're playing for.
Yeah, you want to make it all the way to the end. G2, they're looking in good position, but they've got to get through the playoffs first. For Giants, they're hoping to survive. They're going to be playing in a different type of tournament.
Yeah, Giants, they can experience that moment from the other side. They can maybe go to the crowd in Hamburg, because I don't think they'll make it.
It's a different kind of excitement, though, when you're talking about playing in promotion, but they want to make a strong showing against G2. We saw them fight it out in this last game. Let's see what happens different in the picks and bans. Maybe they'll adopt a different type of composition.
Yeah, it's just G2 is just too practiced in the early game. Like if you fire at them with some standard moves that they've seen every single time in scrims, they will read it and they will counter you. That's exactly what happened in the early game.
Giants selecting red side for game number 2. So things are mixing up here. There's a Malzahar ban at a G2 to start things off.
Yes, another blue side ban here. So it seems that teams are no longer willing to early pick Malzahar, not that strong, but they don't want to give it away. You have a lot of leeway on these blue sides to kind of pick or ban away just annoying stuff that you don't really want to deal with. We're no longer in a meta where everything is just super broken, especially on red side.
Speaking of annoying stuff for Giants, the Nautilus, that's banned away now, so Mithy won't get a chance on it. Fizz also banned G2 once again.
Again, these strong kind of top lane champions that are a little bit niche, like the Fizz, they want to remove them from the top lane champion pool so Flaxis can't carry. This guy is already playing with much lower jungle proximity than a lot of the other top laners here. Last game, rather, we saw Giants trying to solve that, send Memento there early, but it backfired. They didn't quite get the gank off. Flaxis actually engaged a little bit too early. They gave it away to, gave away the gank rather to G2, and then G2 could at least adapt.
Memento also got set a little bit behind too, had to give up his life and his flash early on, and G2 making a cheeky play. You got to think Giants will be ready for this one this time around. The Shen's banned now by them. They're sticking it to the top lane. Well, Nautilus is flex, you count support, and there's a Renekton ban by G2.
Well, it looks like G2 actually just wants to play Rumble again, or Giants may actually early rotate the pick itself, removing the strong tanks away, getting just a pressure top lane matchup is what they're looking for.
All right, we'll see what Giants take as their last ban. Maybe they ban the Rumble themselves. It's been a lot of top
Camille
lanes.
is also still there. You may not want to give that over.
I'm thinking about that one right now. A lot of talk, a lot of chatter on the Giants headsets, and it is Camille banned away.
The Galio tribute.
He's not changed yet, not on this patch.
Time to say goodbye if you want to. It's likely going to be this Rumble though.
Yeah.
Because there's only a few picks left here that you can really pick into it. Where he doesn't get the push. Obviously you can play Rumble matchups and you need jungle pressure. There's also a case to be made for Elise if you want to play that style if you're G2. Would be surprised to see the Rengar here. I think it's okay. I think you can definitely play it, but it doesn't seem to be the highest value.
Yeah. No, and that goes back to the Rumble at the last second. They switch it up. So we'll see what Giants opt to play into it this time around.
I mean, Giants, they just still need to put all the money on the early game. I would just draft Elise here again. Elise Lulu is a good opener. Elise Ashe is something you could play.
Yeah, possibility. We saw in the last time around, G2, they took their first pick phase to grab that Ashe themselves. Lee Sin as well. A lot of early pressure from the G2 side. The Giants match that. Did they take the Ashe here? 3 seconds. And it's, wow, the Rengar.
Okay, they play the Rengar. There are quite a few matchups where he is the weaker jungle matchup, so we need to supplement that with stronger lanes. This is also kind of a late spiker. Rengar has maybe one gank level 3-4 where he can try, but other than that, he will be farming until 6, and with the skill difference in individual player talent, I think level 6 may just be too late already.
Yeah, Memento hasn't honestly played a whole lot of Rengar throughout this split. It's only going to be his second game on it. And the Ashe is locked in. That's definitely been much more what he's been playing, but everybody in the European LCS was playing Ashe.
Yeah, AP top laner makes it so that you can comfortably pick an 80 jungler, and that seems to what Trick is looking for. This is something we saw very often. Obviously no CC between the two of them, but just wealth of damage.
Oh, yes, indeed. And honestly, Trick is able to get this Graves rolling on a number of occasions, quite earlier than you might expect from players that are hoping for, you know, that level 6 to be able to dish all the damage. Very comfortable pick for Trick throughout his tenure in the European LCS, and he locks it.
Yeah, I wonder if Mithy is just going to lock in the Pixie Fairy here. You know, with that Polymorph, you could really shut down a Rengar engage. You don't really want to give that combo bot lane either. Ashe with a range support that can poke so well, that can also then put Wild Growth on Rengar is actually quite a good combo for Giants.
Ooh, yeah. Let's see if they deny it. 10 seconds still taking for G2. They're taking more time, both teams, honestly, in this pick phase.
It's definitely something they're thinking about.
The Tom Kench, though, that's a Mithy special.
Yeah, they're going for a different kind of denial. Again, just wanting some frontline. Playing these all damage comps with no frontline is quite hard to play. And this way they also have really massive displacement. Is this the standard old school counter to Ashe very often? At Worlds we saw Tom Kench banned and Ashe rotated then because it was just so easy to play against this arrow. When you play Ashe versus the Tom Kench comp, you kind of have to hit the Tom Kench himself.
Yep. Stop him from doing a whole lot and try to take him down to 0 before the gray health comes into effect. Giants, instead of a Lulu, looks like they're opting into some more tanky supports themselves. That's a Braum.
It seems just like a read on Hustlin. I think they're not afraid of the Lulu because just Hustlin doesn't play it either or plays it just not very well. And the fact that he goes for a Braum here indicates like champion pool issue for sure. This is not where you would expect the Braum pick to come out.
In the first set of picks, they take themselves their bottom lane, but definitely a little more unorthodox. Giants now, they're going to go ahead and ban away the Jhin. G2 still looking for an AD carry on their side, but that looks a bit dated.
Yeah, I don't think... Jhin is alright in this patch, but I don't think you can ever squeeze Ven here. This guy's going to play into Ashe Braum. This guy can play any AD carry with any support and definitely go even CS because there's just not enough pressure.
Yeah, back to Giants. Let's see what they do again. Do they continue to try and squeeze Ven?
They just get rid of the... G2 gets rid of one of these strong laners into the Rumble here. Again, this is top lane squeeze. Maybe they just get... They won't get rid of the Lulu, obviously, here where they did last game. And yeah, you were right. More squeezing on the AD carry position.
Yeah, Kalista. That one banned away from Sven now. G2, let's see what they do. Is it once again going to be something against the Rumble? The Gnar was banned out last time. See if they do that again against Flaxish.
That seems very predictable here. That's a good spot here. If you're Giants... Pick the Syndra here, I guess. Syndra, Orianna, two good blind picks, but neither really has an edge. Or do you want to wait with your counter pick mid and just lock in top lane here? What are you going to play into the Rumble? I guess, yeah, I guess you just lock in top here if you want to save your counter pick.
Oh, maybe Knight's trying to have his way once again. This Talon, he did get a couple of kills, but it just didn't do enough, and he stuck to it so much, and one of the few to really commit to it, they take it blind.
It feels like they're so afraid of Perkz playing Talon here or something that they lock it this early, because they set up an entire draft where they have mid lane last pick, right? And they just don't use it. What are they going to end up last picking here? Which role? It's the top lane. So they're going to use their last pick to pick a champion in the champion that was picked first by G2 Esports. That generally indicates that your draft wasn't good. And of course, Ven is like 90% sure to just lock in Ezreal. Super safe laning phase with the Tom Kench. The only way Giants break that open is if they actually group with their jungler and poke. But Rengar is not a type of champion that does that. So unless Talon actually roams down and punishes the push from Ashe, it's going to be super hard for Giants to break open this game.
Yeah, and Perkz can very comfortably take the Zillion again if he wants to against the Talon. He's going to lock it in. That's the last one over to Giants.
They have now 2 denial spells versus this hard engage from Giants. Giants, they're playing with a massive shotgun. Talon, Rengar, they go in, they pop you, or they die. And that's exactly what G2 are countering here with the Devour and with the Zillion.
Yeah, same kind of comp from Giants last time. We saw that not quite work out. G2, they've got some pretty scary team fights, but a lot of denial from that pick.
All right, Flax, just give me the secret weapon.
What do you got?
Tell me what was so important that you had the first rotation Talon, not pick a single champion and play a side laner. It's going to be the Echo. All right.
Let's see if it works out for him. I do not know. Double TP on Giant side.
You know
Wait
what?
a minute, though.
I actually like this pick. No, they should swap it around. If it's actually Talon top, I'd be interested.
That'd be crazy.
Regardless who plays this Echo, I actually like the pick a lot because Echo is one of the stronger side lane mages. It's really hard to beat him. He can also run double teleport, which solves that issue where Zillion himself is running double TP. These guys can swap up until 20 seconds, but I think it's somewhat worth seeing this Echo in the second phase.
Yeah. We'll see if Giant's secret weapon is enough to
5
pull
more
off
seconds.
a win. Yeah, they still can swap this one.
2 more. 1. And
there we go.
It's locked, so it is going to be Echo in the mid lane into Zillion. Has a really annoying harass pattern for Zillion to deal with all the jumps. And an 80 burst top laner into Rumble top. This is such a swingy matchup. Oh, we need to see the junglers visit this matchup early on in the top lane.
Well, we saw that last time around, Crep, but we might see it again as the coaches shake hands to walk off the stage. It could be the final time today. G2 really crushing it in game number 1, looking for a 2-0, continuing that undefeated streak. And with a win, they'll lock themselves in that first seed for Group A.
But this is fun. When matches are so predictable and you think, you know what, G2, they're going to walk in the park, take the 2-0, we get something different. We get something spicy, you know, the Talon in the top lane, Echo mid for Knight. a pick we've seen before, but at least we see potential for Giants to really break it open this super hard engaged game.
Yeah, Giants, they've definitely been trying. They're not going to roll over and take a loss from G2 lightly. Can they claw back a game with their switcheroo in the pick and ban phase? If you think so, hop on Twitter and tweet hashtag GIAWin over at LOL Esports. We'll find out as we load onto the Rift.
Yeah, there's a minor small pause right now on the Rift, so we're just going to keep the studio cam on for a little bit.
Suspense building.
Yep, just building the hype.
It was a quick client crash. We'll get that one rebooted. Sometimes you bug splat.
Yeah, occasionally. No Kha'Zix this game, though.
Yeah, not this time around. It's a quickie, though, and it honestly heightening the tension here. Giants, they are hoping that they can grab themselves a surprise victory here. A lot of pick potential if they can pop members of G2 before Mythy can come to the rescue, before Perks can deny those. Yeah, I mean, there's so many tools on the side of G2, and they know how to use them. But we saw Giants picking up a couple of kills last time around. Maybe they can roll the snowball.
Yeah, maybe they can. We'll need to see how these lanes play out. Push should be on the side of... I feel like Echo will have the push early on in the mid lane too. So it could actually be that the Giants, if they visit top lane for some pressure, they could end up with quite a few pushing lanes if they play it well. It all depends on where Memento paths. If you can get into the lane, for example, Rengar isn't a great ganker, but he's a great counter ganker if he can sneak into a lane somewhere.
That's a good point. They prioritize that pretty heavily. You got to think if Giants had this whole comp in mind, they've got a cheeky plan. We'll find out. We're about to load up once again. Take number 2 every now and again. It happens, but here we go onto the Rift. Keep an eye on these two in the mid lane, Perks and Knight, and see what they're able to dish out this time. Knight swapping things up with the Talon going top and Echo going mid.
I mean, there still may be a role swap within a lane swap, right?
I mean, that is just too many levels for me, Crepo. I can't handle it.
That would actually be really funny, because these guys don't actually have to go into the lane.
Mind games.
Where they go, yep.
That's true. Just because that's where you sit doesn't mean it. We've seen a couple of tricky things happen.
I remember TSM doing that. Because back in the day, the 3 bans, they weren't spaced out. They were all on the top laner. And Reggie became a top laner just so he no longer had to kind of tell Dyrus what to ban. He just did it himself.
Surprise, Twisted Fate top.
Yep. Turns out it's a roll swap 2 mid anyways.
Hey, well, it's like that's the full circle, right?
Yep. That's actually a cool way to get around the rules.
No cheeky moves by G2 this time. Stacking line of scrimmage. Last time around, if you remember, they walked their way right into Memento and smacked him down for first blood. But this time, Giants are playing it safe out, and G2 are not going to go for it.
And I really actually hate playing Braum into Tahm Kench. It's a really tough matchup. Because every single good thing about Braum is like the passive stacking, right? And the shield. It gets completely denied. Because you're a champion that plays well in the front line if you're kind of melee skirmishing, but Tahm Kench is just better. He'll hit you 3 times and devour you, and you get all that % damage. Tahm Kench himself doesn't really get cared if he gets stacked because he has the great health. It's such a punishing matchup to play.
And Hustlin picked this when he already knew that Tahm Kench was coming. I mean, that's the puzzling thing. And maybe, as you said, it denotes some champion pool issues here. Hard leash from Memento as Hustlin and Hikyu helping out on the blue buff.
It's definitely a priority pick for him. And this means they lose the push on bottom lane as well, because there's that Raptor start from Trick, a little leash from Perks. Perks is fine yielding the pressure. Look at Sven, he's like kind of soft prepping the wave. They're not fast pushing. They don't need to push any more than this. They get a single creep advantage with the option to opt in the second creep. And now they can just slow it down, right? They want to get the minions in a state where you always guarantee that you have the push, but not so much that you give your enemies a chance to freely farm on the turret. That way you can maximize the time you spend level 2 where they are level 1. And that's obviously after 3 melee creeps here. They're going to rush it down right now and see if they can then get some poke advantage on the enemy bot lane rather.
Yeah. Showcasing superiority in that bottom lane, but Trick has gone in for the level 2 gank. He just dashes, but so does Knight. That's a lot of damage with the end of the line, though.
And you know how we were talking about earlier, how if you sacrifice that bomb, you lose the push versus this Echo maybe? Well, it doesn't matter. Perks plays super aggro, and Knight just gets poked out by Trick here, who has no issues revealing himself, because this is all in the terms of pressure.
Oh, yes. Taking a look at Flaxish up in the top side. He's keeping pace with Expect in terms of CS, but it's obviously a very early start. Talk me through this matchup in the top lane, Crepo. This is something I don't often see.
I mean, I'm no talent expert. I mean, generally when you see Rumble, your analysis is Rumble pushes earlier very often. And then you need to avoid the ganks. And that's exactly what's happening here. He lost some CS on the early push. Flaxish has the trades. He can actually play more aggressive in lane than most top laners, and he's incredibly hard to gank because he can always just jump over that really big wall.
Yep. Knight making Perk's life a little bit hard, but the bomb return damage. Talked about junglers and where they were going to be going this game, and Memento hasn't made the journey, but Trick was already on that level 2 in the mid lane. Does he return there is the question.
Yeah, it's the problem with the Z-Drive Resonance as well on the Echo. If he deals enough damage, like the passive pops, he speeds up and it's really hard to double bomb him, right? Like how, like a stationary target, yes, but if he dashes in, deals damage, and walks out and you miss your double bomb, you will just take so much damage. So that's why the pressure advantage really is on this Echo.
Yeah. Even though Perkz was taking some damage, he's able to keep the farm advantage for himself.
Ooh, that's actually a good point. This guy's up 8 CS. That should never happen early on.
It's a big difference in how they've been playing. Memento is going to get spotted.
This sucks. If you're Memento, you just cleared your jungle, you see the enemy walk in, take away your scrying plant, and put a ward on top of you. This means this guy is playing against a team that has perfect information. Yeah,
feels bad, man. And Memento, honestly, he's been such a crucial part of this Giants team throughout the split, looking to him to make the big plays early on. And in all honesty, when he gets shut down, doesn't really work out well for them.
Yeah, see it again here. He, obviously, a decent player on a really bad team is prone to get these kind of stats. You know, this guy has the highest damage percent for junglers, mostly because his team is not dealing that much damage. You know, he has the highest kill percent because, again, his team isn't getting that many kills. He needs this team to step up, but also he needs to be able to kind of help the lanes, because we saw earlier how much a single gank can do for you. Perkz now has to flash.
Single play, but yeah, the bomb's
out. Here actually just gonna be killed.
Here we go. Here's the time for him to shine, and he gets first blood.
Perkovic, that was
greedy.
That was interesting with the capitalization on the int and the ing. That was really not good.
Oh man, you're on fire today, Crepo. All right, 5 minutes in now. Giants, they get themselves first blood. It's on that jungler. Maybe that's the start of something. The pick composition that Giants have built for themselves, baiting Perkz in to an inadvisable situation. Sven Amithi, though, is still pushing on this bottom side into the duels.
And when we look at the matchups, we can look at the greatest. You know, we don't need to look at Expect versus Flaxish, but Smeb actually played Talon into Rumble, and he lost in that matchup. Then again, he was playing versus SKT, so maybe that's unfair.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, quality is...
So we know that Talon loses to Rumble when you play versus SKT. Does it lose to Rumble when you play versus the European SKT?
I suppose.
G2 Esports.
But right now, I don't know if Perkz is necessarily faker with the way this one got played out.
I mean, he knows that if this is a pure 1v1, he can actually get a double bomb on Knight pretty comfortably. Problem is, the jungle just showed up, and he also probably didn't expect Echo to have enough mana for both spells, because that was borderline enough. So you definitely understand the rationale from Perkz. He knows he can make hang on, just watch his dive.
Okay, wait, flashing in, and Expect is gonna...
All right, back to the point. He knows he can make a calculated play, and if it fails, he has his flash to save him. Obviously, he wasn't thinking about the jungler. Now, these type of plays I just love here. Just pressure early with Rumble, put him low, and then get your jungler to dive in, and it seems so easy.
Gating what the Talon can really do. Hard for him to really make a big play here. Now, Perkz and Knight both taking a little bit low. Perkz does not have his flash. Knight's still sitting on that one, so might need it in just a minute, though. He's getting taken quite low at the minute, but let's see Trick coming around the side. Knight does have 6. Is he going to pull that snapback? No, he does, right into Perkz, trying to make the play. One more auto is all he needs, and he gets it.
Ooh, Knight's actually going to walk away here, so this is super well played by the Giants mid laner here, but Perkz, with a bit of an error in positioning, you can definitely see that trailing ghost. You know where he's going to ulti here. Both bombs used as well. Trick picked up 1 to get some damage, but he went a bit too far forward, and he got left behind. Very well played by Knight here on the Echo.
Yeah, I can give him a couple of stacks on his Dark Seal too, so we'll have a little extra damage working on it.
And this is really fun to see, because now we can see, has Perkz solved one of his issues? This guy used to be a massive tilter, and he admits it freely as well. But he actually was pretty proud of how he handled and deals with kind of bad streaks of luck right now, or just misplays, where he will only get effective for a few minutes and then play super consistent again.
All right, we'll get back to that in just a second, because Memento's jumping on top of Expect, who has his flash. He should be able to walk this one out pretty easily. Memento taking a tower shot. But more to your point,
yeah,
it has been a little odd to see kind of Perkz falling a little bit into those bad habits. And in all honesty, he was running a clinic on Knight last game.
Yeah, I was looking for the outplay here, but the added mobility from this Echo pick makes it so that he has a lot harder time getting the double bombs that he was getting a game ago.
Memento's back. Let's see if he can find Expect now. Still holding on to that flash. He's going to have to burn it. Shadow Assault. There goes the equalizer. And Flax is just left alone. He has to hop the wall. Way too late.
What an absolutely bonkers play by Expect here. He completely turns it around. He gets the flash, which means if then Flaxish gets the gap closer down, he will land straight on an equalizer. And Memento went for the dive super obviously without his ultimate available. So no kind of stacks gain faster for that Rengar. So that was a really ill-advised dive there.
Yeah, you know, it's going a little rough in the early game when you try for a dive, you get outplayed under the tower. Expect safe enough. I mean, he's honestly been playing with a lot of pressure these days, so he knows how to handle it.
Yeah, if you say you failed, try and try again here. That is not true when you're playing a jungler. If you go to the lane, you fail at a play at all, and this guy gets away without flash being used, probably not wise going back again.
Yeah, maybe he learns that one lesson. Let's see. 2-2 in kills, though. Still a very even game on the goal, but it has been a lot of play attempts. Knight is going to wait and bait in this brush, but who is baiting who? Smokescreen comes in to cover up Knight, and Perks dodges out of the parallel convergence.
Yeah. Perks steps out. Just looking to play wave clear duty right now. Hustling, looking for some river vision. The bot lane, not really too much has happened, but again, Sven up in CS.
Yeah. Sven is definitely keeping Hiku and Hustling kind of push back on this one. Let's take a look one more time at the play up top.
Yeah, I really love the flash timing here. Like he waits for them to get the aggro, then flashes out, so he knows that when Flaxus tries to proc that ultimate, if Memento wants to follow that damage, both of them would play on the equalizer, and it's so easy to juggle the turret aggro out there. Just not enough damage for the burst.
Yeah, beautiful play by Expect. Flaxus 0-2 on this Talon. The switcheroo has not done what they wanted. He's finding himself down in the CS as well. Memento.
Man in jungle. Mithy is looking for him. Trick is actually quite a strong jungler when it comes to awareness of where the enemy jungler could be. Very rarely do you see G2 play without knowledge of where the opposing jungler is.
Yeah, it gives them a lot of foresight, a lot of ability to not make these bad plays. Perks safely pushing now as he knows Memento is not going to be ganking this lane anytime soon as he wandered back into his own jungle. A lot of vision for Giants, though, in this G2 jungle on the bottom side. They just haven't been able to do much but take away camps.
They lose a ward there, but they were playing with 4 control wards on the map here. A lot more even game here, and a lot of it comes from this pressure in the mid lane.
Whoop. Well, Perks is taken low, but he does not have to use his Chrono Shift.
Yeah, he always has means to get back into the lane, but this is an entirely different scope what we saw last game. Perks going up versus Knight here, not longer the one being the aggressor, you know, putting the poke down. Look at last game. Such a stellar performance, didn't die a single time, was really aware. 750 damage per minute, which is quite high, especially on a pick like Zillion. He was landing a lot of bombs in laning phase as well.
Yeah, he was looking real excellent. This time Knight definitely threw him a bit of a curveball, but let's see what happens down on the bottom side. Mithy, the Ash Arrow lands on him. He has to burn his flash.
Yeah, but Knight is coming as well here, so they're looking for great help to take down. Now Knight wants to dive.
Okay, parallel convergence thrown down. G2 know what is up. Hustling flashing forward. Instant exhaust onto Knight. That is a big glacial fissure here. Can they finish off Mithy before Hustling goes down? The answer is yes, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Knight going in. Here, Bada, he's looking for Sven, and he swings, but it's EQ that claims the kill onto Sven.
Yeah, Flax just made his way down with teleport as well. We see mid lane Perks approaching as well, but double bombs are down, so is the refresh. Not too much is going to happen here. I like the way Hustling still applied all the stacks that were necessary. Memento's flanking as well. Is Perks in trouble?
He's got flash. It doesn't look like it. Meanwhile, up top, Trick is able to take a tower.
Yeah, Trick can turn a bad situation into a great one because this guy knows how to capitalize here. Look at what he's doing on the top side of the map. Over prioritization here from Giants on that play. While they win out in the microcosm, if you zoom out the map in the big side, the macro, G2 win out yet again.
Just have better awareness of what's going on, and now Knight, looks like Perks was looking to dive him, but Knight was ready at the back of it all still. Even though they make an individual outplays here, Expect is on top of Flaxish with the Shadow Assault.
He's got to guess, you know, you don't see it, but now Knight gets cancelled again here.
Knight can't catch a break now.
Perks not falling for the same bait here, just going for the base cancels, and now there's so much pressure on this Giants lineup.
Let's see if Giants can hold off the push right now. We're getting close to 12 minutes on the mark. G2, that gold lead starting to swing again.
Hiku has to be careful here because Mithy can hand deliver anybody behind him with the Abyssal Voyage. There's a lot of people basing.
It's always a possibility. Right now, G2 don't need to go for the dive, though, because they're just keeping pressure on the mid, pressure on the top. They've already gotten the tower, but there's a teleport here.
All right, Perks needs to run down. Mithy can maybe buy enough time here. Sven needs to stay alive.
Yeah, Mithy got walked right into, and instantly you can see Knight. He snaps back all the way to the base. Giants, all of a sudden, they can't keep on pushing.
Yeah, that's a little fishy right there. Obviously, you find yourself 45 down TP and ultimate. This is a major hit to the economy of Giants.
G2, they can keep this pressure on right now. There's a Mountain Drake, too. If they can grab this tower, well, they have to live through this because Expect steps too far forward, but still, he's able to flash out of danger after the Ash Arrow.
A little bit of a miscalculation there. This is kind of the style that G2 like playing. Looking for small victories over and over, putting the enemy in kind of a gridlock position where they can only make bad plays. They lost their flash, but they gained the teleport cooldown and an Echo ultimate on the other side, which means now Perks can play a lot more aggressive rather. He can really push on the advantage, and obviously a lot easier when Trick is grouping with him.
despite the fact that Knight had a couple of kills here, wasn't enough for them to really be able to do too much. Here's how he picked him up.
Yeah, a couple things to look for. Hustling goes in with Q Flash to really get the aggro early, then he puts his shield in front of Sven. And then just this last tick here is really important because he gets the exhaust out, and then Sven actually makes the mistake of not flashing early. When you play versus Echo and he starts his E animation, it's often very much so too late to flash. So you really want to respect him and flash early.
Yeah. Well, Flaxus is respecting the positional that G2 have. He's going to have to hop the wall, but he dies in the midst of it once again. Expect 3-0 now on this Rumble.
Yeah, 3-0. I think if you hit Talon in his ultimate, you get a kind of a shimmer. So you can see where he is in that invisibility, and that's exactly what happened there. Flaxus walked in, connected with the Electro Harpoon, and it was enough for Expect to determine his location.
Yep, Flaxus not having a great time on this Talon. Switch up. Still Knight. He's pretty happy about this Echo pick. Is it going to be enough? Memento stealing away.
Memento's level 8, by the way.
Red buff.
Trick is level 10. This guy is taking side lane turrets, taking the farm, and as Ven's under pressure, he needs Mithy to warp back in, but Giants are committing.
Flashing forward, Tom Kench is coming, and he dodges out the Glacial Fissure, but will he die? No, it's Mithy to the rescue.
Yeah.
Spits Ven back out.
EQ's tanking a full minion wave. Mithy can actually go mess with him.
Exhaust is on. True Shot Barrage. It's only going to clip onto Hustlin right now, but Giants are on the wrong side of this one. Sven sidesteps the big arrow, and now they're on to Hiku once again. Memento coming in to try and finish up a kill. Mithy going low. It's Memento taking down Sven, and Giants, they commit super hard, but it is a 1 for 2.
Yeah, but how much time have they bought? Trick is here, going for one. Trick, can he get two?
In, blown away, trying to finish off Memento. Red buff ticking is not enough, and Knight even tanking tower shots. How low was that HP
and
bar?
now we need to look at the map here. Can Perks get damaged mid? No, he says, you know what, I can't finish that turret. I'm just going to prevent Talon from taking top lane tower. So we see Perks playing the smart game here, going to the top side of the map here. There was a lot of time bought here. I love the way Sven was just ultra aware of the way the situation could change out. He never blindly went to that trade that Mithy was setting up for him. Kept his distance, sidestepped both ultimates of the enemy bot lane.
Yep, forced a huge commitment from Giants. They still were able to pick up some big kills, but Trick coming in, flashing to manage to finish off one himself. It's 6-6 in kills. It's 15 minutes on the game, and you can see the big goal difference, objective control. It's only one tower, but in all honesty, G2, they're just getting a lot more off the map.
Yeah, but the fatty first tower gold, Pyra, that's what you're looking for.
Oh yeah, we saw that big 650 pop up when Trick was finishing it off himself. G2, they've got the map control. They can keep on working with it. And you can see some of the difference in items starting to come through. EQ actually opted for the Blade of the Rune King finish off first, and, well, he might have needed it for the kite.
A Borg Ash. That's the first. All right. I'm actually not quite sure on that one. I'm not convincingly going to call it bad just yet, but something tells me it's not the greatest.
It's interesting.
It's definitely...
That's what I say when I don't know.
Yeah, peculiar. Peculiar build here by Hiku.
Yeah. Knight's been honestly doing all right, though, but a couple kills in lane, getting one down on the bottom side, it just hasn't been enough, and it's the same kind of story when he was playing Talon last time around. He's got the proto belt, he's got assassination potential, but you know, here's where the denial starts to come in. Mithy's Perks, they've just got the tools to be able to stop it.
Ooh, expecting trouble, Pyra.
Yeah, he is.
He was hiding in a bush that was warded. He's getting pushed in. He needs to get that wave clear because he's at least at risk of getting dove. Will he survive?
There we
go. Obviously Perks who can
no flash.
come in technically with teleport. Perks is actually
equalizer. Oh, they're just going to try and finish him off, but look at the damage the Hustler's taking. No, Expect forces them to flash away, and Perks finishes his TP channel right now. Expect manages to push all three members back.
Turbo Rumble coming in here, looking at the collapse here, piling on by Giants. Now obviously Knight's under pressure here because he's outnumbered.
And he throws the Time Winder, but immediately he wishes he could rewind right about now, but he's got no chrono break. And the collateral damage is just not enough to finish him off, but man, that was close.
So that leaves Giants exposed here. What a swift reaction from Perks here. We asked ourselves earlier, is he going to be mentally affected by those misplays? No. He was right on time to save Expect, and not even that. Turn him around. That was pretty much Rorschach right there. Giants, they weren't ganking Expect. Expect was ganking them.
Sometimes the things you least expect, and well, he's playing big, man. 3-0 on this Rumble, and it all started with Giants just trying to make big plays on him, but he has been resilient and outplaying Giants at every angle. The rest of G2, honestly, not too far behind that as well, as they keep their gold lead, extending it up to about 4,000 on the mark. 17.5 minutes on this map.
Yeah, the only player that could ever deal with Expect in a side lane could maybe be Knight on that Echo, because he is itemizing so well. Ninja Tabis, and then Seeker's Arm Guard. Combination of Talon and Rengar is not going to take this guy down. Not without him dragging somebody in the grave at least.
Yeah, Flaxus definitely not tanky enough right now. Knight can usually get himself out of harm's way, but Giants, they really need him to be able to pick off other priority targets here. Giants, they just need some towers right now to try and come back.
Yeah, this Talon pick was sacrificed. First game it was picked early. Second game it was used as a flex tool to really enable that Echo. Yeah. Flaxish is suffering.
I like what Giants are trying, experimenting a little bit. You know when you're facing off against a top-tier team, well, you're probably going to lose. You might as well do something a little unorthodox, throw people off.
No, I think these flex picks will be really valuable if they end up in promo tournament. You can take a win off a not-so-experienced team using these kind of tactics. You can really throw them for a loop and pick and ban.
Yes, indeed, but G2, they definitely didn't seem to be phased by it. Mithy, Abyssal Voyaging straight into lane. Flax is trying to hold this tower, but G2, they should be able to finish it off. Maybe they want to elect for the dive. No, just forcing Flaxish away. The Ash Arrow, the teleport. Here's the counter engage here. Hustlin's incoming, Knight's on it. They don't want to go for Mithy just yet, but they're going to have no choice as Sven was already out of there. Mithy sacrificed.
Look for the cross map. What are they going to do? Push top into rotation, or push mid into rotate top is definitely an option here for G2. Or double siege mid top here. Look at the poke from Mithy, or from Perks rather.
He was chasing down Memento off the back of that, and now he's all alone in this mid tower.
Yeah, Drake just shadowing the dragon here, looking to hold. A lot of chip damage here, but no objective looking to fall. Drake still gets to steal away the Scuttle Crab. So this is G2 are playing on 3 objectives at once: top, mid, and dragon.
Trying to grab everything they can while Giants were away. G2 looking to make the play.
Bot lane turret as well. You see Rumble peeling off. He could actually go join mid. I think that would be a good rotation here from Expect. Yeah, look, safe path into mid. Release Perks of the duty, and that means Perks could technically rotate bot if he wants to. But it looks like Rumble is just kind of taking away the red buff here. In between the lanes, stealing objectives. Really smart map play by G2.
Getting everything they want right now. Expect even taking the blast cone out over the Baron pit to get out of harm's way once again. We're close to 20 minutes right now, and the first dragon will be started, easily taken out by Trick and Sven. Mountain Drake will help them knock down more objectives a little bit more fast, a little faster I should say. Expect is finding Knight. Speaking of fast, how about that? The damage, the snapback. Expect's overheating, but that's not going to be for very long. Equalizer thrown down. Tries to cut off his escape path, but he's got no tower to go back to, and Mithy is incoming. Let's see if Knight's going down here in Perks as well. Knight tries to make the play on the backside, but not going to happen.
Yeah, Expect knew he would always win that fight, because worst case he would disengage and his team would back him up. Devour and the revive was enabled. And this is again Giant's super hard commitment to one lane. You know, trying to make a single pick here, but this time Sven shifts in time. He doesn't get slowed. Knight can't trail him and chase his gap closer. They get one kill, but at the meantime, there are so many objectives taken as a cross map play by G2.
Yep. Even when they lose something, they're able to pick back a lot more. Towers, Dragon, Giants still scrambling to try and find more than just a kill. And, you know, even though Mithy was sacrificed at the same time, there's not much else Giants can get off of it.
Especially Memento. This guy keeps going for plays, and he walks back into his own jungle, and everything's gone. Like, you can't farm a single creep anymore because either Trick or Expect are just taking it away.
Yeah, you can see the big difference in farm right now. It's like, I mean, okay, so maybe jungle CS doesn't mean exactly what it looks like all the time, but still, that's a pretty big difference.
I mean, you can look at the gold here, right? Like 8.8k on Trick right now, and there's 6.8k, so 2,000 gold of the lead is just on Trick versus Memento. And the way you can actually see that G2 generate this amount of gold on the jungle is where he is during a lot of these plays. When you're this far ahead, as a support, so often you want to call your jungler over and you're like, yo man, like, let's duo invade, let's get deep vision, and let's choke him out and force him to face check. G2 actually play a very much so slower game because Trick is always clearing his jungle and the enemy jungler. This guy will optimize farm in a way where team-wise you have slightly less pressure, but over a long period of time, G2 get a lot more resources because they're always maximizing on their side and then taking away half of the other side. That way, they get a lot more.
Yep. Trading a tower right now, but Flax just trying to hold on. Expect actually gets nailed by the Ash Arrow. Eaten up by Mithy. There is the denial. That was close, though.
Oh, he spits him into the wall.
Oh, boy. Memento's going in for a hop. He sees the play. He's going to land a bullet strike onto Mithy, and in comes Hustlin. Now, can they finish it? Equalizer is there. Glacial Fissure. It's a fight of ice and fire right now. Crepo Memento, though, he's leaping on in. He's trying to win the game. No, it's Mithy who swallows him up, spits him back out, and Expect comes up with kill number 5.
Couple interesting devours right there. But they were calling for a medic. They needed Perks to come in with the revive. And again, Trick on the side lane, just dealing with that echo pressure. And Knight didn't snowball enough in this game that he can't even deal with a jungler on the turret.
Giants trying to mobilize fast to make big plays, but they end up giving a kill over once again to this Rumble, who's honestly popping off at this point. Zanya's complete, and he's got to have a lot of gold in his pocket to go spend back at the item shop.
Must be so fun for these G2 members to play slightly tanky champions and have a medic on standby. They can just put ask the Air Force to drop him in. Teleport Zillion can always come in and revive you. All you gotta do is wait 5 seconds.
Yeah, they got the big guns, man. Giants, well, they're playing with the baseball bat right now. Knight's still trying to find some kills. 2, 1, and 3. He does have Lich Bane complete. He's still a side lane threat, but there's so many tools to deny picks.
Yeah, but his Rengar has really not been working out for the Giants. Even right now, they're struggling. Flaxish, look, what can he do in this situation?
Goes invis for a few seconds, gets some damage.
With the jukes?
Oh.
I can definitely, this play is defendable. It's just, it looks a little bit fun. This is not so defendable. This is really risky. Cost them a teleport. Look, it's Sven cutting over. Because they always have mid lane pressure, they always have somebody joining from mid to bot, from mid to top, and they can always win the fights if they stall, and that's why the Zillion pick is such a great 1-3-1 pick. Here they're trying to spit them into the bombs. Eventually, you see these guys still get stunned by double bomb, so because they're overlapping. Also, a little cool mechanic you can do.
The Rengar's been trying to get tanky, Spirit Visage and all, but not enough damage, and again, so much denial from the G2 side. We are 23 minutes into this one. There's going to be another Mountain Drake on the map soon, but right now the vision is all targeted towards the Baron side.
Yeah, looking for a quick day here in the LCS.
Yeah, it will be if this ends this way.
Splice 2-0ing Vitality after a bit of a comeback. Giants never really got a goal lead here in this game. They looked good for only a second in the first game, and then G2's prowess just came powering through.
Yeah. So there's the experience difference as well. And you look at Giants, mentioning it last game, and you have 3 newer members coming in, or 3 roster changes rather. G2 sticking with it, and you know they're showing that their experience, 2-time winners of the European LCS, looking for a 3rd as we keep on pushing towards playoffs.
That's something we actually haven't talked about, Pyra, like the contrast in these teams. G2 kept their entire roster together, and then you have Giants rotating new members in every single split. It seems like these guys can't keep a roster together for a while. And then Trick. Oh, run, Tricky! Yep.
I mean, they had all the escapes. Flash, swallowed.
That's teamwork right there. That's the stuff you build over time, Pyra. Playing multiple splits together. Perks coming in now, looking for an action. And then you need to look at the coaching, right? G2, as they're sieging in here, looking for more damage.
Yeah, Trick tanking tower shots. It's all right, though. They're still firing away at this turret Knight, looking to come in parallel. Convergence over the side. Teleport now as he pushes his way towards the minion.
G2 want to reset right here, and they want to go back to the bottom lane, and now they have TP advantage, so you could actually expect coming here pretty soon if they find a ward. But again, yeah, G2, they invested in coaching staff. They invested in infrastructure to teach these players to perform better or become better versions of themselves. If you look at Giants, it's kind of only Lozak right there. Last year, their drafting improved, but he even credited it to their AD carry back then, so he now joined them as well. But yeah, that's the problem. Like Giants, they're always fighting an uphill battle every single season.
Yeah, I mean, they've made playoffs a handful of times as well. We've seen Giants honestly come up on the up and up, but they've had, you know, more times in the promotion tournament. It looks like they might be headed there again. Still some games to play out right now. Trick and hustling, tussling. Knight coming in to try and make a big play onto Trick, but they still had that Zillion ultimate on him. Now he comes around the side. Let's see if he can finish it, and he does outplay the jungle, but Perks is hot on his heels right now. Time Winder's out, and I don't think he's going to live through that one.
Nope, he gets the shield. Oh, just in time.
Oh, wow, he's going to walk it out. See if he can get away. It's a great escape. No, Sven denies it.
Sven denies him. Papa Sven comes in, and yeah, that was a really well-timed kind of shift forward from Knight, because he followed the gap closer from Trick. You know, as Trick ulted, he still landed on top of him, and that's what got him the kill. And then some really good moves using the shield very well from the parallel convergence. This wasn't quite enough.
Talking about accolades and experience, I mean, yes, Knight was the guy that we looked to last year as the Giants' big standout player. He's one of the guys that remained, and he can still make big plays every now and again. You see it here.
Yeah, he's really good on these kind of skirmishy, kind of mobile mid laners like Talon and Echo, but the problem is they are very hard to slot in and play around. Like, it is much harder to play around a Talon and an Echo than it is to play with a Syndra and an Orianna. It's not cookie cutter, it's not straightforward. So even though, yes, this might happen, like, look at it right here. Like, he follows Trick all the way. And then look at how he gets his shield. Like, these are all nice moments, you know, like a couple photographs in the game, but the big picture is still always in favor of the opposing teams, because Giants, they're just struggling in the mid to late game to get their macro together.
Yeah, honestly, they've looked like they just haven't had a whole lot that they've been able to do past the landing phase in most of their games, and it's nice to see them trying to make these picks, trying to make these plays, but G2 just out-macroed them.
Yeah, that's what, when in doubt, you just group on a single lane, try and get a kill, right? But it becomes so predictable that you will always get cost-mapped, because the beauty is not in the play itself, it is in the setup. It is in always having side lanes pushing, it's always having deep vision, and always having a plan B ready.
Oh yeah. G2 right now, they've got plans A through Z in all honesty, and they don't need to change things up. Finishing off the Mountain Drake, Memento is looking to hop in and try to make something happen, but it's way too little, way too late.
Yeah, this is Giants not even aware that they were in that pit, because they saw Perk stop. They're like, guys, let's cross-map them, let's go Dragon. They get to Dragon's like, oh, they blast on their way in. Where do we go?
It looks like back to base. That seems to be the answer. 28 minutes now.
Turtle up.
G2 still growing that lead. Last time it took them 36 minutes to close out. They slowed down just a little bit. Minor critique we can level at G2, but right now they have got tower wrecking power. They've got Baron demolishing power. That's 2 Mountain Drakes. That's a big gold lead. What are they going to do with it?
Really good vision control. There's one single ward hopped over that little wall where there's a double TP possible. They're looking to close out the second mid lane turret so they can push in even farther. Sven, look how he's playing, always ready to shift into Mithy's mouth right there.
And he does. Right there, off the back of it. Even dishes some fadeaway damage onto Hiku. Flax is heading back up to the top to clear waves. Knight will try to equalize on the bottom side. Should get this turret, but I mean, that's an inner for an outer.
Yeah, but this is going to be Baron Force. There's no way Expect walks to mid lane without G2 starting Nashor. The whole reason that Expect is here is because they're starting Nashor. Giants should be aware of this. They are now, but is it simply too much too late?
They don't even need to peel off right now. It's already gone down to 25,000. Oh, the Ash Arrow comes in. It's not going to snipe off anybody.
Yeah, you saw Perks reroute the traffic. He's like, nope, you shall not pass here. Talking to Memento right there. He had to go the long way around, look for a leap, and then G2 moved away from the Baron, so you couldn't even leap into the pit. If he was on time, obviously sidestepping the arrow, because the only way an arrow steals an Asher is the splash damage.
Yep, so they were able to outplay even that possibility. Giants coming up empty-handed once again. And G2, what can they do with this Baron-empowered minions across all the lanes?
Pyra, put your teleports in the side lanes if you want, or you can just go for the kind of rush mid. It looks like they're splitting up still.
Yep. Still one unconquered tower outside the base, and it is in that bottom lane.
Yeah, Sven can even play more aggro right now. He has self-peel finished. He went for Blade of the Ruined King, and then he went for Gauntlet. Actually, interesting different build here. Pretty much old school, no more the... I mean, different. I mean, it's just not the Triforce that we saw so often. So he's so peel-oriented. He really wants to get rid of this town, this Rengar, and this Echo that's going to jump in. He has QSS to get out of maybe the Bolas or the arrows. So you'll see a much more liberated Ezreal pick here.
And they have a lot of damage to spare across the map as well. I mean, you look at Expect 5 and 0 on this Rumble. Trick has been doing his usual thing, and Perks has got quite a lot as well.
It's also sustained. It's much better to go Iceborne here. I definitely like that pick. Sven doesn't even have to be afraid here. He plays so far forward because he has obviously that QSS and Mithy next to him.
And with a couple Mountain Drakes as well as the Baron buff, they're able to easily polish off that last tower, demolishing it. And let's see what they can do in this 1-3-1.
Perks just goes mid. It's a 1-3-1 that will always turn into like a collapse because you want Perks with the team, right? You don't want your Zillion split pushing, but you still want him to put pressure on the lanes. So that is what Perks is doing right now. He pushes up mid, and then he's ready to turbo speed himself up to the bottom lane.
Ozark looking on, hoping his team has answers to try and get a collapse themselves.
G2 should play slow here because they just want to let Rumble push in the top side. They just want 5 members of Giants in vision bottom wave so the Rumble can push in. Now obviously Talon's going to hold and then Expect has to decide. Does he go mid with his team or can he win the 1v1?
So far he's looking at that 1v1, but meanwhile it's checking on Knight as he goes all in onto Perks, dodging bombs.
Obviously, if they commit too far in the mid lane, that leaves an opening in the bottom lane. That is what G2 is trying to do here. They were trying to pull out the defense of Giants into directions where they can't really hold anymore, and then they can force open a turret. And once one turret falls, this push and pull will really work out.
Knight's looking for the collapse, though. Not going to be able to find it right now, and you can see Expect being brought into the mid.
They want to force mid here. Look at Expect. He came down. The zoning from Perks goes out. It's actually not the bottom lane turret. It's also the mid lane turret that's going to fall. And right now, Giants are crumbling.
G2 are getting everything they want right now, scrambling between everybody to try and get out of harm's way. It's Mithy who gets caught on the Ash Arrow. Equalizer gets thrown down. Will Giants pay for that one? They're getting low, but Redemption coming in. In comes Perks on the flash. Knight snaps back right into the team, but he's forced to get the hell out of there as Sven chases him down to pick a kill. The rest of Giants licking their wounds, heading back to Fountain, but their base is in shambles.
Yeah, a couple lucky moments right there. Mithy going down without being able to be revived, because obviously Sven did not take that carry, that arrow out for his support, even though he had QSS. And then Devour available. They sold Mithy, but it wasn't enough. A nice move from Knight as well. He used his ultimate to dodge the second bomb from Perks. But even with all that, it was just too much gold advantage for G2.
And they keep on growing it, grabbing themselves both inhibitors, pushing into the base. Giants, they're not done just yet, but man, they're bleeding out at the moment.
Yeah, they're bleeding out. 2 inhibs down. This should be a clean finish for G2. Put the dots on the eye, go home with another 2-0, and remain undefeated in series for well over a year right now in the European LCS.
Here's that play again.
Yeah, look at him. Mithy. He's like, I'll devour you. You can QSS the arrow. I got you. He got sold. And then Perks comes in. I mean, it's going to be like a hero. Flash double bomb. 1 bomb. 2. Nope. Knight just jumps out. Doesn't block his teammates. Sven is actually going out of mana in these fights. That's how long they're lasting.
Yeah,
so these are really well played fights by Giants. The problem is simply too late. Expect is dealing a ton of damage.
Yep, playing with a lot of heart, trying to hang on, but it's oh so hard against this G2 squad. trolling everything on the map right now.
Mithy,
Oh, yeah.
0 damage.
I wonder why that was.
That's when you wait for your team to win, and then you make give him some feedback after the fight. It's like, hey guys, my name's Tom Kench. I have Devour. he's so pissed off that he bought his own QSS. He's like, you know what, guys? If you're not gonna help me,
Never again.
I'm gonna help myself. I'm gonna buy my own QSS.
He's got enough gold to spare, though. G2, their coffer's pretty much overflowing this time around. There's another dragon spawning. It's Infernal, but there is no need for G2 to try and pick this one up. They're marching up the top lane. It's a 4-1 with Expect in the mid, trying to finish off the last of those inhibitors.
Yep,
see if they can end the game here.
And now looking for the side flank. Mithy
Asher.
again, but
surprise! This time he has the QSS, get him out of harm's way. Flax just going around the side. Big glacial fissure here, but there's Redemption on Knight in the back. Do they have enough damage to finish off the job? Expect was flanking the flankers, but he goes golden as Knight can't finish him off just yet. There we go, the big shutdown. But meanwhile, the rest of Giants are falling to pieces, and Hiku is going to have to get to the safety of tower. Or is it so safe? Trick coming in, a double kill, a triple kill, and there's no defenders left for Giants.
Yeah, straight to the Nexus for G2. Flankers Z right there, Pyra. They take it home.
Oh, yes, they do. 2-0 for G2. They continue their undefeated domestic streak. GG, well played.
And they're happy. That was a super clean fight by G2 Esports, mainly because they caught Giants completely off guard. They were trying to do the same thing, take out the Tom Kench, and that's what you have to do. That's why Tom Kench is such a strong pick versus Ashe, because you're always forced to try and take him out first. The second he popped that QSS, Giants knew it was over.
Yep. Big buy there at the end for the Tom Kench, and G2 can be pretty happy with their performance in both of those games.
The entire organization kind of right there, 5 players. Then they have Sharks, Weldon, and Youngbuck. And then obviously Oslof's not here. He was here last week in the studios. Yep. He released an interview where he told them he loves them unconditionally because.
Because. Win or lose.
And then he followed up. It was quite fun from a grammatic point of view. But yes, he says, you know what, these guys, it doesn't matter. If they fail again, we're going to give it our all. We're going to set us up for success as best as we can. And then it doesn't really matter what happens next, as long as we gave it our all during the split. And that mentality allows you to play with the necessary amount of freedom.
Yeah. It's got to feel good, not just being in a big lead, not just being 11-0 and close enough to that perfect split, but they know that their owners got their back, the whole org's got their back. And this is what a top-tier team in Europe looks like.
Yeah, look at the man. Coaching staff rolling up the mouse pads for you. Well done. Adding value to the team. It's probably for an interview, but yeah.
Of course, of course. But yeah, G2, they've just got to be so happy with what's going on. Maybe a little bit of critique in game 1, not finishing as fast as they could. Okay, they improved it by a minute, but honestly, you're just trying to knock off little things there, and it's just minor improvements every time.
If you ask them what was happening in that closure, they're like, yeah, okay, we were trolling a bit. That's what they will tell you. But yeah, these guys know that's the best part about it. As much flack as they get for failing internationally, they just show up consistently a tier ahead of the teams in Europe, and they honestly understand their mistakes, and that's why it's so hard. Like, it's so hard for them to find, I think, practice that can push them forward. Because when you get smashed in scrims, you can open up the VOD and be like, okay, where did we go wrong? How did they outplay us this hard? But when you're this good of a team, especially on stage, it's really hard to improve.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly is, and this is why they've got to be looking ahead to more international competition. Obviously, we're getting ahead of ourselves because they've got to play through the playoffs, of course, but, I mean, with that win, they locked themselves the #1 seed in their group. It was all but confirmed before, but they officially do it. They dot it down on paper. It means they get the bye for week 1, and they can kick back and watch as the other teams fight it out.
I think Expect right here put a vote for himself here for MVP with that performance. Because he took the aggro in both games, he was getting targeted, and this Rumble he showed up with tons of damage. Trick also played well here, so those would be kind of the 2 guys that I'm looking at for MVP performance. Obviously, we can't give too much to Sven because he's playing scaling carries, and once he's scaled up, the game's over, Pyra. They're like 8,000, 10,000 gold in the lead.
Playing as slippery as he could. I mean, Giants still managed to find a couple picks on him early on in the game, but as you mentioned, they're just tunneling so fast on trying to get individual kills. But, that's it for us. For more Quick Shot standing by with G2's AD Carry.
That's Sven.
Thank you very much, guys. I just had to get Sven his microphone there, so I forgot to pick it up. Anyways, congratulations. Another 2-0, another undefeated week. This is becoming a pretty regular occurrence. Quickshot interviewing Sven on the couch. Let's talk about the series. Was it as easy as it looked to me as a viewer?
Like, I don't want to say it's easy. It was easy, but it wasn't hard, at least.
Why is that?
I just don't think the Giants they are the last place team in our group, and they're not very, very good, and it's not like it's flame or anything, but it's just the truth that we're the best team and they're one of the worst teams. So
I think that's fair, and you know, I'm putting you on the spot with a slightly unfair question, of course. Sven, what is it that makes G2 so good now? What is the magical ingredient that keeps you guys undefeated here on European soil for so long?
I don't know about last split. Last split, I think we were not that good actually, but I think now we're more of a strategical team with more macro play than last split. I think now everyone has learned a lot of macro, especially Dejan, I expect. I think he now knows more about how to move on the map, how to play a tank as a carry, or the other way around. And I think now we can beat every team in the league without like having to be better players, like mechanically or anything, or lane phase wins. But I think now we're just more methodical macro team, and I think we have learned a lot from IM especially. So yeah.
Well, it's definitely showing through in terms of all the results. Let's talk about you specifically and how the AD carry role has changed. I mean, since you've joined the LCS on the stage, the best ADC in Europe. You've been through all the different metas over the last couple of years and whatnot. So what do you think of the state of AD carry in 2017, now that we are in week 9, there's only 1 week left of LCS?
Well, so Jin and Varus suffer the classic Riot curse of something is OP, that's not the champion, so we will nerf that. And then the champions, so Varus and Jin got nerfed, the Varus Q, the Jin ultimate, Deathfire touch, and then the items, and then the Vitality finally, right? So those champs suck now with their old builds. So when Jin and Varus got nerfed, things like Ashe become even more popular, on red side mainly, and champions like Ezreal, Kalista, Caitlyn took a step forward. And so yeah, now bot lane is more balanced in a way, where you can play anything you want, with some picks being better on some sides, like Ashe is better on red side, for example, because she's good with last pick support, for example. So yeah, now bot lane meta is more balanced in a way, where there's more champions available and more champions playable.
Does this benefit the Sven Mythi G2 duo? Because I spoke to you guys a few weeks ago and we talked about how Mythi was inting a little bit and the meta wasn't exactly in your favor. So is this a small step back into something where Sven and Mythi can be the best in the West again?
Yeah, I think ever since the meta changed, we've been better. But I think Jin, Varus person is not my best kind of champions, but I don't think that's the reason we were bad before. I think we just needed to get back into our best shape and really like figure out how to play the game now, because the game has changed a lot since Worlds, and I think we were not very good before, and I think now we're starting to pick it up a little bit more, both champion-wise and like macro and our play-wise.
Well, it helps. Yeah. You're getting to playoffs, right? This is the time when to pick it up, of course. Let's just get 1 or 2 more quick questions on you personally now. We've talked about the meta and how it adjusts. How do you personally adapt and change? Obviously, you play a lot of solo queue. Obviously, you play a lot of champions. But how big of a shift is it going from, you know, Kalista last year to Jin this year to now Ashe, for example, for you personally?
Well, for AD carries, there's never been main champions in my role, right? Like top has tanks, AP carries, assassins, mid has the same kind of thing, where there's more champions to play. Whereas in bot lane, the meta only goes back to something that was played before. There's never new champions. There's like 1 AD carry a year, right? So you don't have to learn anything. You just have to go back to what you played before, right? I have always played something. Like I played Ashe before, right? I played Kalista before. So going back to something is easier than learning something new. But for patch changes, you have to like test the new things, like Warlords, for example. You just play 20 games in a row with Warlords, and like, this really sucks, and oh, this is really OP, so now I'll play it too. And then sometimes you're right, sometimes in hindsight you're not right, and you just have to test it in scrims against real players, against like real teams, and you test the solo queue, and you try to like figure out if it's good or not, and then yeah.
Well, it definitely shows. I mean, undefeated again in spring. Sven, thank you very much for the interview, and I'll probably see you next week. Before that, though, let's head up to the analyst desk to rack up the day with a post-game lobby.
Thank you so much, Trevor, and welcome everybody to the post-game lobby, where Vedius and I are joined by Sunkux and G2's Perks. Just talking to Sven there, fantastic interview, always a good insight. He said in nice words, well, obviously they are the bottom team in the group and we are the best team in the group, so it wouldn't be that hard of a matchup. How do you look back on your play versus Giants?
I think in game 1, I felt really insane because I was just playing my buttons all the time and catching waves deep and stuff. And in game 2, maybe I got a bit overexcited early game because I was first time playing against Echo, at Zillion at least, and I was trying to play aggressive like I did in game 1, but against Echo it was a bit harder because he actually counters Zillion super hard on lane, so I should not play that aggressive. And I burned Flash and I died to Rengar gank because I didn't see him, and the next time I walked into Echo, so my early game was rather unlucky, but I think besides that, I think my play after laning phase was good too.
Can you explain a little more as to why you think that the Echo is so favorable into the Zilean? Because it's not a matchup that many people at home get to see very often.
Well, many people barely anyone plays like Zilean, but I like Zilean. But I think Echo can dodge every bomb and he can perma push all the time, every lane. So I tried to contest the wave so he doesn't have priority. And then I was getting like jumped around, you know, and he can go in, get speed and speed out. So it's really hard to trade him. I think I did a good job the first 5 levels, but then I fucked up big time, and then yeah, I got punished for it.
Yeah, you get one. Sencux, you were saying actually that you thought in the first game, I was like, oh, Talon versus Zilean, we don't get to see that often, so that's cool. But you said, well, it's not really that riveting of a matchup as Zilean, but I feel like Perks did play it quite interestingly, like quite aggressive and whatnot. Would you agree with that? I mean,
he was hitting bombs left, right, and center. So I think Knight kind of had one of those bad games where you get hit by every Zilean bomb. I don't know. I think in general, I think Talon should maybe have an upper hand, at least in the early game, but I guess later in the game, Zilean can ult the 80, so he can't really one-shot anyone. I think in general, just Perks really outplayed him in laning phase, and then Trick going into auto-attack the tower, and then he's 50 CS down, and then you just say unlucky game, go next. Yeah, I just like the way, I thought you just played it in a very aggressive manner as opposed to just like waiting the game out.
Well, I just like to play in my lanes how I think it's supposed to be played, or just play aggressive if your jungler is there, and if my jungler is not there, I will let him push or whatever. But I think me and Trink play really well on pressure, and we play well together if I have pressure lane on mid. But if I don't have pressure lane on mid, then it's maybe a bit harder. So. Yeah, would you say your together play with Trick has changed or evolved over the split? I think it has evolved so much. I think from last split at least, because summer split the mid meta was just farm mid like for the whole time. It was just like lane subs and stuff. So mid was like really irrelevant most of the games. It was just like 4v4 game, and we haven't like played much together. And then at Worlds, like when the mid meta changed to early mid or like mid pressure champs, we were playing. We were doing good in scrims, but on stage we just collapsed, and I didn't play good with him, and he didn't play good with me, and I think we just were not on the same page, and we were working really hard on it since the beginning of the split, and I think we evolved so much. Like we just play really good one to each other. Right, so. Yeah, it does look like it. And you were saying the same thing about how you and Trashy were finding. Yeah, I mean, we never like. I think in spring last year, I think Perks and Trick was playing already well together, but as you say, like in summer, it wasn't really needed as much. But I think me and Trashy never had that, and like that's what we had to build up in this split in the beginning as well. So yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot better at it, and we're working a lot better together. Interestingly, Wonder was saying last week when we talked to him on the post-game lobby as well that he thought it was so cool that he could play any champion, or if he wanted to play any champion, he could tell Trashy, and then they would make up a plan to make it work. Wouldn't you like to do that? I mean, the mid lane pool is so diverse, but is that also a possibility that you say, hey guys, I really want to make this work and an innovative pick, because that's not really been your style historically? I mean, I had some innovative pick last year, but Macedonia, yeah? I don't know. I think in general it's just like, if you want to play a champ and your team trusts you and you actually think it's good, you can try it. And I don't know, I think that goes for every single player like in the team, even Trashy himself. Sion. Don't play Sion. I mean, we don't get any ideas. We've given him chances to play Sion, but he was not at the max level from MVP, so he's not going to continue playing Sion. I think in general, it's just every player has a responsibility to know if a champion is good or not, and then people need to trust him. And then if you go into game and you go 0-10, then that sucks, and then you will not play it in the next scrim, and then you continue. Yeah, like what was it last week? Because you guys had like a draft, and we had the feeling that Yamato said, hey, you can all play whatever you want. And Mickey was feeding. Oh, it was first pick Trash, wasn't it? Oh, I think so. Yeah. It was first pick Trash, and it was a Fizz game as well. And Mickey didn't have the best game, so we made like a meme that he would never be allowed to pick whatever he wants. But I mean, he hit hooks today, so it's fine. Yeah. He gets food. No hook, no food. Yeah, no hook, no food. No hook, no food. That used to be Dale or meme, right? Yep. Wasn't it? Yeah. All right. In any case, for this series, the player of the series was Expect there, and we heard Sven talking about as well how he feels that on a macro level, Expect has improved enormously. Is there anything more you can say about that? Because it's very obvious in the games, but yeah, I think it's insane. Like his improvement over the course from summer split, where he came from LSPL team, which is like basically like you didn't know anything about the game or like life as a pro player. So it was just like he adapted to the EU style and he learned everything about the game with us, and he was like really willing to learn. So it was amazing. Actually, it's amazing to work with this kind of person who just accepts every kind of criticism. Like sometimes he accepts like too much criticism. Like we're literally just like talking shit on him just so he improves, you know. And then he improved, and now he's like, I think he's so good now. Like I think he's best off in you.
Wow, there we go. And he's playing very well as well. How do you deal with criticism and feedback, Fergus?
I think I deal really well with criticism. I think if I haven't dealt with criticism, I would be stuck to my summer split mindset, or maybe I wouldn't. But I think everyone in our team deals well with criticism, and that's why we are this good, I think. Yeah. Or since if we couldn't deal with criticism, then we would just be stuck on our way of playing, like gank only top, or like some teams, or I don't know. It just, yeah, I think it's very important to be able to give criticism and receive it.
Yeah,
I mean,
also in the caster team.
EU LCS, right? Like, the moment Ryze gets nerfed, Perks can't play it anymore. He can't bring out all the improvements that he was able to make on that champion,
and he flames it on
Twitter. But I'm very impressed with what Perks has done. I mean, he earned MVP at IEM as well, and I think that as an individual, both you and Expect have grown a significant amount. How much do you feel that was thanks to the support staff that you have? Because a lot this split, we've actually been looking at the support staff and considering how much value it really does bring to teams.
I think the support stuff is useful, and it was a great addition by G2. Like, it relieves some pressure from Joy, some pressure from us, some pressure from organization, and but I think it's mostly it was myself reflecting upon myself and trying to like step down of trying to be a star player like I did in Summer Split, was trying like too much and just playing how I think it's supposed to be played, and try to play like as perfect as I can. I will never play perfect. There is always something I can do better, but I will try to play as perfect as I can. Like my role, how it's supposed to be played. If I'm supposed to go in, I will go in. If I'm supposed to die for my team, I will not play for KDA. If I'm supposed to play for KDA, I'll play for KDA. And yeah, I think I have improved a lot, and I will just look to keep improving. Yeah,
it does show. Perks has all the personal goals for this year in the split. What was for you kind of the personal goal for your mid lane play specifically?
Wanted to get away from this passive style of play, like what is known for playing Cassidy and Melsa, standing at your tower, getting behind in CS kind of style. So I want to shift away from that and show what more that I can do and how I play in scrims and stuff, and play more like that on stage, I think.
Play more aggro. Well, you got to play today. You guys beat Vitality to an also pretty handy win there in the end, and you guys also locked in your spot for the playoffs officially, so you'll be going to the quarterfinals. At least, Perks, did you see a lot of this? How did Sencux play?
I actually didn't see the game because we were in the shuttle.
Yeah.
I saw game 2, and game 2 was just like, his matchup is just like, I don't think Kasan is the best pick. But maybe it's good, like maybe I'm being close-minded, but I think like Aslan just gets pushed in, and if you have a losing bot in the matchup, they can just go mid and take your turret. But I think Sencux played really good after, like he was actually doing good in teamfight and stuff, and the level 16 power spike hit in, then the Cacedonia shrines.
Yeah, I mean, the game got kind of out of hand at one point, and I think they should have been able to win the game of taking Nash, but they didn't really force too much, and then just hit level 16, and then it's time to fight with a 1 sec cooldown on a jump, and the first game was pretty stormy, so
yeah.
I think in general there's not much to take from the second game from a player. Like, you can't really point out one player that did really well from our team, because it was mainly just like farming out from every single side and played from there.
This time was really sick though, like on our journey. It's Mickey Exler.
I mean, I think actually he didn't have flash. I thought he had flash.
I think that the way in which Splyce played this series, though, was actually very impressive. You had the fastest game of the split in game 1, and now, like, looking ahead for playoffs, do you see yourself meeting G2 in the final, or do you see yourself, like, how do you see yourself looking at the promotion tournament and looking at
promotion
G2's
tournament?
Promotion
No,
tournament.
the playoffs.
I don't know, actually. I think in general we're just going to take it step by step. Right now, so if we're going to... There's still a chance that we get second, so we play for that first. If we get third, then we will play Misfits, and I still think we can win that series. So in general, we were going to take the quarterfinal first and then look from there.
Yeah, let's look at the chances that you get second. Taking a look at the standing and the playoff picture, which is rather almost complete. G2, you guys have locked in the top seed as a result of today. Woo! No, that word is banned. Never doing it again. But that's really good for you guys. You get a straight bye to the semifinals, and of course, it's a big struggle there for Unicorns of Love H2K, who gets it. And if H2K were to drop lower, then Splyce would get in second position, and you would avoid Misfits, and you'd likely play Fnatic or Roccat? So those are a bunch of discussions. Let's start with the first one. What is the probability that Splyce makes it into second? Maybe we can ask Perk. So Splyce still has to play the Unicorns of Love and H2K. And H2K still has to play Vitality and Splyce.
I think the chances of Splyce getting second is honestly like fairly low, but I think they can do it. It just depends like how they pick it up for last week. Like it's always, usually the last split, like last week was so irrelevant, but I think now it's so hyped. Like you can see these teams fighting for second spot. Like who's gonna get Fnatic? Who's gonna get the free win in the quarters? And it's just gonna be really fun to see the next week.
That's some haters on
That
Twitter.
is not exactly.
I'm just joking before he hits me and lose to Fnatic. Like just a joke, guys.
Well, you locked in your buy, so I mean, I think it would only be karma at this point. But let's talk about Fnatic and Roccat because Roccat is on a tear. They had.
That's an interesting battle.
Excuse me?
That is an interesting battle.
That is a very interesting battle, not one that I had expected coming into the split. Vedius, Roccat now on a 4-series win, and they are playing Misfits tomorrow, which will be kind of the breaking point because they're also playing G2 later. So they have to win one of those 2 series for Roccat. Do you see it happening?
I think it's a big ask. I think it's unlikely that Roccat will be able to take a series off of Misfits. But I think the goal should be to see what they can do, because I think that the fact that they've made this amount of growth in such a short space of time is definitely a positive aspect for them. And I think that they should prioritize on locking in that 4th place spot and doing what they can at improving towards looking at summer.
Right, but who deserves it more?
Who deserves a 3rd place spot more? I mean,
The team that gets it deserves
yeah,
it.
Yeah, the team that gets it deserves it.
Thank you. Because I think that when you look at the first half of the split, right, Roccat, they sucked, right? They had no impact on the game. They really didn't. Individually, they were getting outperformed by everyone in the league. They had no sense of macro. And while they did bring in someone else that better understand how to play the game and work as a team, I think Fnatic had a better grasp of that earlier on in the split. So
we were discussing this actually this week.
I agree.
You agree as well?
But I think Fnatic, I'm just disappointed in them because I thought before going into split they were going to be like a top tier team with all the players and how they build the roster. Like they were really like trying, I think, to build like an Europe roster, but they haven't shown any room for improvement since then. So
we were thinking about this week, and although Fnatic, of course, it was kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They made this team and they said it was going to be good, but are they actually going under their expectations? Because to me, if I didn't have any of that context and I look at Fnatic and look at a team with almost all new rosters, a new plan for the split, I would say getting to the playoffs alone would be enough. And is it just because of the image that they made about them around themselves of like, hey, this is the all-English roster, that we just had bigger expectations for them than what was reachable?
I think in general, like I think Caps had some hype coming in as well, and I don't know, they have like some veterans players in like Soas and Reckless, so I think in general, like just looking at the roster, they should be able to be a top team, and people expected Caps, even though he was the rookie, to become like rookie of the split and become one of those like maybe the best mid in the EU at that time. So I think that's why people had a high expectation as well. The problem is just that they needed to improve because they were a new team, but they didn't really improve at all.
Luca, do you think that Caps hasn't been able to come into his own or be that dominating as we kind of not thought he would, but maybe he could because of the team's performance, or is he just not there yet or not able to get there? I'm
not sure. Okay, I think at the beginning of split, like before going into split, I thought like I was playing against Caps in solo queue and some like mix-up scrims, and I was playing against Fnatic in scrims, and I was getting so destroyed every game. I was like, oh, no. I was getting really triggered, and then after like, because I didn't play that much in no season, I was doing school and other like real life stuff, so I was like getting a bit depressed, so I started spending more games, and after like 2 or 3 weeks into the split, I felt that he didn't improve as much as I did over the course, and I think it might be because of the team problem, like, I don't know, coaching infrastructure or whatever, that didn't like allow him to improve as a player. I still think like he has great future, like he's just his first split. It's a bit unlucky, like on and off, but I think with some time, like he will be a really good mid laner.
Yeah, that's definitely something to follow up on Caps' individual performance. And when we look at the individual performances as a whole, Splyce's Wonder has extended his lead at the top of the player of the series leaderboard. 6 points. Jankos, then Kakao, and Sven with 4, and expect me talking to Chachi 3. No Sankuks, no perks in.
I'm getting robbed.
Robbed? Well, you happen to have a couple of people in your team.
I'm really getting robbed this split, I think.
I got robbed last week.
So should you be in the place of Sven or expect? or what?
I think on the Wunder place. Joke.
Actually, how many series did we win? Was it 7? I think we've won.
Yeah, I guess
7.
Wunder is just carrying alone. You know, that's my guess.
Wonder is insane.
Just-
I mean,
just
can you say
insane.
something nice about Wonder?
I mean, I think he's the best top lane in the EU, so I think.
Actually, how long have you now been playing with Wonder? Because we had this great conversation earlier on that I think is a beautiful story between him and Wonder.
I mean, I went to school with his cousin, so we've known each other for about 5 or 6 years, and we used to play kind of for fun on a really low elo team back in season 2, I think it was, and then we kind of grinded together and played through Challenger series, and now we're standing on the LCS stage. Better love story than Twilight, right?
Fantastic. But what I want to know is you just called Wonder the best top laner in EU. He just called Expect the best top laner in EU. So how close is it, and who's wrong?
I don't know. I'm just judging by my own personal improvement of him and how he plays with us. I can't know what Wunder does for his team. Maybe he's better and more influential for Splice, but I'm not sure. So it's always hard to judge. It's always like a double-edged sword. He can be better, or this guy can be better. Maybe he can have better games. This guy can have worse games. I think, it's debatable.
I think in general, Wonder, from an outside perspective, it's easier to look at individual players because you don't know what players do in comms and as a team. And I still think that Wonder has outshined pretty much every top laner that's been in EU last split and also this split.
Jachi or the Wamne? Ferius, weigh in here.
I think that both top laners add a lot of value to their team, but when you look at G2, you can make the argument that Expect does his job for what he needs to do to the team, right? When we look at the lineup, you can play around Sven now because of the shifts in AD carry meta. You can play around Perks if he wants to, rather than playing Zillion. That's up to him. But you can also play around Trick, right? So Expect isn't necessarily expected to be a carry. When we look at Splice, in my opinion, I tend to look more at the top laners when I think of carries, because I think that on a mechanical level, Wonder has the advantage in many instances, and I think that it's just that the expectation lies on him to be more of a carry than, say, Expect would. That's not to say that one is necessarily better than the other. They just bring different things to their teams, right?
Yeah.
We're definitely not biased over here at all.
I could agree.
I mean, it's only
depends.
natural that you're biased towards your own team members.
Yeah, of course. I will say my team is the best. My teammates are the best.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, they're in first. I don't know if I can say it. Maybe, actually, my teammates are the best. I'm the problem. That's why.
Exactly. If anything goes bad, I'm the problem. Read Reddit. It's always the same.
All right. Well, we'll see, and we'll also be following up. G2 is still undefeated, so is that going to change? Are you gonna drop the ball?
I mean, I'm gonna try hard, work hard.
To drop the ball?
No, to undo the split. But if it happens, I would not think it will be a necessary bad thing. TSM losing to P1 last split and ruining their undefeated split, I think. It's just some things that can shock you a bit before playoffs. I think it's not bad, but if we lose, we are not gonna get complacent. I think we are gonna do well.
Yeah, that is what we want to hear going into the postseason as well. If you get that MSI spot and whatnot, but that is all in the future. For us, though, also in the future, we'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central European Time for another evening of EULCS Roccat versus Misfits, OG, UOL, H2K, Vitality, Fnatic, Giants. I really want to see if Roccat can do it. That'll be all the hype for me in the beginning of the week.
I think that's going to be a big one, see how much Roccat have improved. Misfits will be a big test for them, but also I think Giants versus Fnatic is an extremely exciting matchup because of how much it means for the standings. And I mean, we've already seen Fnatic fall to Roccat. Will they end up falling to the other bottom team as well?
Yeah, I'll have to see. Fnatic, they can't drop the ball there, or it's pretty dire for them. Any match or team that you guys are particularly looking forward to in light of the playoffs? You want to see how UOL does, how Misfits does?
I don't know. I think the most hype matchup is probably the Giants versus Fnatic. Mm-hmm. I think that's the most close series of the week. I think the other matches should be quite straightforward.
All right.
I agree. I think Fnatic still has the upper hand, or should have, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. I still expect them to win. And for playoffs, I think Unicorns is looking really strong again, which is, I don't know, the first 5 weeks, they are so good, and then they have a slump for 2 weeks, and then they play against H2K, and they win, and pretty convincingly. So, I don't know, Unicorns are on fire now. Fear their horns.
Fear their horns. They are on fire. That is true. We'll see that tomorrow.
I'm gonna hear that on stage next week.
You're gonna hear it, yeah.
All right. Are you the guy that's always screaming in the crowd when you play? Can you do it? Do you know what it is?
I rather not cringe over.
I would say that Cobus' impression of it is probably the best.
Cobus' impression? All right. We'll have to remember that if he ever joins us on the desk. But thank you guys very much for joining us and talking about all things League of Legends. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central European Time. That is 9 a.m. Pacific as the EU LCS 2017 Spring Split continues. Have a great night.
Peace.
The answer is fight! Choco's gonna get caught by a death sentence and the arrow. Double teleport into the river. Splice, smite down the dragon. It looks like Cabo. He cancels the TP. Hachani's caught by a cocoon. Splice get dragon and 2 kills as well. Khan is down. Wagner gets the stun. Relentless pursuit, but the range is too short. Steals out. Gets his first kill of the game.
Splice win the fastest game of spring and secure their spot in the Grand Finals.
Goes down the Hebo Blake, there is support, Hachani and Joker coming in. Ash Arrow catches onto Trashy, Trashy goes down for first blood. Copy and Senko's get out of range of Tempered Fate, and Wonder is being culled down where he stands. The body slam allows enough damage for Copy to pick up the kill into Cabo. Hachani burns down, it's a double for Copy's Ezreal.
And they turn the game around from a 4,000 gold deficit for a clean 2-0 over Vitality.
Memento, he's going to have a whole horde of G2 members coming for him. He doesn't see it. Uh-oh. Exhaust is on. There's the bomb. Oh, I think Memento's running out of time. He has to flash, but he's not getting out of there. That's first blood. Trying to hold the line. Redemption comes out, but is it too little? Is it too late? The bomb's on. The damage is there. Trick picks up the Caitlyn, and G2 holding firm in this 5v5.
Making the game here, finishing off the last Nexus turret. Let the Winions do the job. G2 wipe their hands and get ready for round 2 as they have taken a big lead in this series.
You need to go gym. You have too much energy. I feel like my brain is exploding, you know, I can control everything.
Knight does have 6. Is he going to pull that snapback? No, he does. Right into Perks, trying to make the play. One more auto is all he needs, and he gets it.
Big Glacial Fissure here, but there's Redemption on Knight in the back. They have enough damage to finish off the job. Expect was flanking the flankers, but he goes golden as Knight can't finish him off just yet. There we go, the big shutdown. But meanwhile, the rest of Giants are falling to pieces, and Hiku is going to have to get to the safety of tower. Or is it so safe? Trick coming in, a double kill, a triple kill, and there's no defenders left for Giants.
Yeah, straight to the Nexus 4G2 flankers. See right there, Pyro. They take it home.
Oh, yes, they do. 2-0 for G2. They continue their undefeated domestic streak. GG, well played.